What's up, YouTube? Today I think we were gonna go over some triangles. That's pretty fun and exciting. Let's understand triangles. So I mean, there's a lot going into triangles. Triangles are actually simple concept. You look at it, it's three sides. The definition of a triangle is three-sided polygon whose degrees add up to 180 degrees. So that's a pretty simple definition. Draw it out. What is a triangle? Right here. Triangle is that right there. That can actually be a really complex yet simple with formulas, um, like object right there. That can be very complex. We're gonna go into to what it's all about. So I kind of want to start with maybe the easier things. 90 degrees, and we can go into 90 degrees and split off into triangles that aren't right angles or right triangles. That is a little more complex. So we'll just go in step by step and kind of get a little more complex and find correlations between what we're learning and going over right now. So of course, start with Pythagorean theorem. Like, why do we use it? So Pythagorean theorem is a squared plus b squared equals c squared. And again, this is only for right triangles. So why would you use this? I mean, you can use it to maybe find distances and all that in real life. Maybe find like a distance, a height. So let's see what it is. So let's go back to our triangle. So let's say we want to find c squared, which is the hypotenuse. And by the way, of course, the hypotenuse is the side opposite to the right triangle. So the right triangle, or the 90 degrees. So the right angle. So right there, opposites, right? And that's gonna be very important going later on, understanding the opposite sides with degrees. So right there, c squared. So when you go a squared, b squared. So a squared plus b squared equals c squared. And again, the hypotenuse will always be the c squared. You got to remember that. It can fool some people. If you're on a test, you get that wrong. You're like, oh, well, the hypotenuse, messed up, didn't do the hypotenuse, wasn't c squared. Simple mistakes like that. All right, so let's get sides. So let's say this side is 12 and then this side is 13. You want to find the hypotenuse of a triangle whose sides are, or a side is 12 and then b side is 13. So let's try that out in the calculator. So 12 squared plus 13 squared is 313. And hold on, I'm gonna turn the lights on so it'll be a little better. There we go. You can see a bit better. So there you have 313 as not your final answer, but c squared. So what do you have to do there? You want to go square root of 313. What does that equal? That is equal to 17.691. So we're going to write that over here, 17.691 again. And feel free to pause this at any time, right there is the formula again if you need to see that. So right here, this is 17.691. So we just found the hypotenuse. Pretty simple. Hypotenuse is really nothing. But again, this is right triangle, and it can get more intricate than that. And you can also do this in the other ways. So let's say you're given 17.691 is equal to 144, which is the 12, plus what? Let's say you want to find, b squared, which were 13. So let's say you don't know that, and then you want to find the b side instead of the hypotenuse, and you're given the hypotenuse again. So you can do that too. And that's pretty simple, Pythagorean theorem. But triangles aren't just sides. Like, what about degrees? So let's go over to the degrees. All right. So as you can see, we just went over the Pythagorean theorem with sides. But again, triangles are, as we said in the definition, a three-sided polygon that degrees equal up to 180. So we can't ignore something that's even in the definition right there. So degrees are a pretty simple concept again, especially in a 90-degree triangle. So I mean, you have more basics. You can have a 90 degree here, And then these are two more bigger triangles, like more main. So you have a 90 degree and then a 45 degree, which that is a pretty common triangle again. And then you'll hear about that one a lot. You'll also hear about the 30 60 90 triangle. So when you see that, you have 90 and then 30 and 60. And again, that obviously very simply equals up to 180. So I mean, that right there is pretty simple, but I mean, maybe you have to find sides with decimals. So I mean, that again is a pretty more simple concept as well. I don't want to say simple. Maybe some people might find it a little more difficult, but again, it's just go over it. You understand it. It can be a lot easier than you might think. So let's say this is 90 again right here. Again, the square right there is that box is 90 degrees. That represents. So let's say you have 35. So let's say you need to find that third side right there. So let's say so let's say you have 180 minus 90. So that right there is equal to 90 minus 35. So that's 55. So I mean, you just found the third side. So it's not, it's a lot easier, I think, than Pythagorean theorem. You don't have to do a squared plus b squared plus c equals c squared. But again, it gets more difficult than that over time. Especially when you go into deeper things. Finding sides with degrees and stuff, which we'll go over. So I mean, if you're looking at it, is there a correlation between the sides and the degrees and all that? And there is. That's what we're gonna go over a little bit. In another segment. It's degrees are degrees correlate to sides, and so I mean there's laws for that, and we're gonna see that. So we'll go over that in the next segment. Alright, so we were just going over Pythagorean theorem and degrees. So let's all correlate it again. Correlation between sides and degrees, and that's what we're gonna look at now. So for understanding a triangle, on a test or just a math problem in your homework, it might say, solve a triangle. And what does that mean? Solving a triangle just means, knowing everything you can know about the triangle. Knowing all three degrees and all three sides. So, I mean, you pretty much completely know the triangle, and I mean, that can be a very important thing in your life, knowing how to find the complete sides in a triangle and all that. And for that, you need three pieces of information. So I'll show you what I mean. So let's say you have, this is 30 degrees right there. Let's say that's 30 degrees. And then you have 15 and then 12. So, when you're solving a triangle, you're going to be given three pieces of information. So that can come out as, and I'll show you right down here, side, 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 angle, side, angle, and then angle, angle, side, or side, angle, side. So again, you can pause that right there. Those are three pieces of information. Each of those contains three pieces of information that you need to find a triangle. So right there, that's pretty simple. Again, it's just got to go over, completely understand a triangle. You kind of go through this, just okay. So you need a side, 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 angle, side, angle, and angle, angle, side, side, angle. And now the question following this is, how do you use that to solve a triangle? Which again, there are laws for that, and that's gonna be the law of sine and cosine, which I think we're gonna go over in the next segment. So right now, this was understanding it. So you need three pieces of information, and you can use that as side, angle, side, angle, side, angle, and angle, angle, side, or side, angle, side. Alright, so now I kind of wanted to get into something a little more complex, and that is with solving the triangle, and that's law of sines. So, let's start with first understanding, some things about the triangles. The angle and its side. Where does it belong? So here you have the degree and the side. So you got to remember that it's opposites, where it's facing. So look at what we're given. We're given A equals 10 degrees. So 10 degrees is right here. And then opposite side is over there. And A equals 12 right there. And that's really important when you're doing a triangle, because if you mess that up, it can throw off all your calculations. It can even, well, you can't even really do it. So you put it over there, it wouldn't work. So let's go into that. So over here I kind of made it a little more. So let's say, to solve it again, you need 3 pieces of information, right? So you have the 10 degrees right here, and then you have its side 12. Now you want to find that angle that goes with the opposite side, 13. So I put it down here, which this is the law of sine right here. That's the degree right here. What that degree is. But I'm gonna explain to you what that looks like, because right now what am I looking at? So alright, so if you look at it, so sine of 10 over 12. So again, we're using law of sine, so we're gonna use sine. So sine of 10 divided by 12. So you can see that is the sine of the degree divided by its side. So then you want to find the other one, so you have to proportional, so it's going to be sine of x divided by 13. So we want to find x, right? In algebra. So that, you're going to cross multiply and you get 10.83 degrees. And now you're thinking, what is the law of sine? What is that formula you just drew out right there? So let me show you right over here. So you can actually write it in 2 ways, depending on if you want to find side or degree and what's easier. So let's just go with degrees right now. So sine of A is equal to sine of B is equal to sine of C. But that's not it. That's not it. Now, at the bottom of each, you have to divide it by its side. So A, B, and C. And that is law of sine. But if you want to find sides, because this is for degrees, it's a lot easier for degrees. You can use this to find the sides, but it's not. It can take a little longer. So now if you want to find the sides, it's actually the same thing, just inverse, which is A equals sine of A is equal to B over the sine of B, which is equal to C over the sine of C. And again, if you look at that right there, you can look at that. We're finding that we're using that to find this, right? So 10.8 degrees. And now remember, so this side right here, 13 is bigger than 12, right? So this is one thing you got to remember. Bigger angle, bigger side. So right here, 10 degrees is smaller, obviously, than 10.83. So again, that side is going to be bigger. So that is the law of sine. But there's not only the law of sine, there's also the law of cosine. You right here can use this again, once you find this side, you can also find that other side. It's maybe you can subtract the degrees, obviously. So, you can subtract 180 minus 10 minus 10.83, and then you're going to get this side, and you want to use that. So, you can use law of sine to pretty much solve a triangle, but there's also law of cosine, which can, help you find a triangle depending on what else you're given in the information. So I'll show you what I mean in the next segment. Alright, so I'm about to talk about the law of cosines right now, which again is for solving triangles, and I think it's a little longer in calculations than it is the law of sines, but again, it helps you solve the triangle. It's really important. And I kind of drew it all out here, so I'm going to take it step by step with you. And now, let's say, for the law of cosines, you want to find a side. So let's say you're given 37 is a degree, and you want to find the opposite side, and you're given 2 sides, right? Well, there's a formula for this. So it's a squared plus b squared, or a squared equals b squared plus c squared minus 2 times b times c times the cosine of a. So now, we can do that out right here because you see we have 37 is the degree. So I wrote that out here. So c squared equals 8 squared plus 11 squared minus 2 times 8 times 11 times the cosine of 37, which gives you 44.44. And again, that's not the final answer. You have to find the square root of that. So it's 6.67, and then a is 6.67 as your side. But there's also, let's say you want to find the degree, and you're given a side. So you're given side, 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 which is usually, that's what you're going to use law of cosines in. So here you're given cosine of a equals b squared plus c squared minus a squared over 2 times b times c, which here I gave you, 6.67, 11, and 8 are sides, and you want to find the degrees. So I wrote it out here, 8 squared plus 11 squared minus 6.67 divided by 2 times 8 times 11, and that'll give you 37, which is your degrees. So they're kind of interchangeable, but at the same time, you're going to find that you have to use a different formula depending on what you're given to solve the triangle. and that is law of cosines. But, again, there's more to triangles, and what I think in the next segment I want to look at is another pretty simple thing: areas of a triangle, which are not anymore just base times height. Alright, so now I want to talk about area of a triangle, which is not complex anymore, or I don't think it's very complex, but it's a longer formula. It's not just 1/2 times base times height. And here again, I've gone over all of it, and it's, again, you can see it's not that much. It's pretty simple. You just got to know the formulas, do it out. So here, area equals 1/2 a times b times the sine of c. So again, as you can see, you're given 13, 12, and then c, which is, or the degree of c, which is 11. So again, look at that, and then you put in the variables, or you substitute. So you have 1/2 times 13 times 12 times the sine of 11. There you go. Sine of 11, which is 14.88. So again, that was pretty simple. That's your area right there. But there's also more formulas for area. So area right here is area equals square root of s minus or s times s minus a times s minus b times s minus c. And I'll erase that. I don't want to confuse anyone. So you have that, and now you think, wait, what is s? I don't know what s is. Again, s is semi-perimeter, so it's half the perimeter. So let me show you what that is. So s equals 1/2 a plus b plus c, and feel free to kind of rewind back here. There's a lot of formulas I'm giving you right now. I just said semi-perimeter, and I'm going to show you what I mean by finding area with s. So you have that. So let's find 14, 13, and 15 are the sides of a triangle. So let's look at that. 14, 13, and 15 all get 42. Divided by 2 equals 21. And we're doing that because that's what it says over here. So 1/2 times a plus b plus c. So you get 42 and you get 21. So you go up here, you get 21 times 21 minus 13, 21 minus 14, and then I couldn't write it, but 21 minus 15. And you get 84. And again, that is your final answer. You just put it in there, you square root it and all that, and 84. So that is your answer. And that, it concludes pretty much everything there is to say about triangles. Again, you can kind of see it's a lot. It took up quite a bit, like almost 20 minutes of video. But it's explaining triangles. That's a lot. There's a lot more involving triangles in math, and trigonometry. It's all about triangles, and it's complex. But go through the formulas. Get your degrees, get your sides. It's easy. It's easier. You just got to go over it. You got to get down what you're learning. And that's triangles.